Hello guys and welcome back to my channel. Today's video is going to be my top 3 easy desserts that you can make on a keto or low carb diet. I do just want to say you do not have to be following a low carb diet to be able to make these recipes, but maybe it is important sometimes when we're baking at home, or if we decide to bake at home, we can definitely use some more cleaner ingredients and things that aren't going to raise your blood sugar levels, but also give you that sweet craving satisfaction that you're looking for. So yes, baking at home is always best. You are never going to get the same quality ingredients when you buy from a store, but even better, we can use ingredients that are much lower carbs and are sugar-free. So a lot of people will say they want to make a low carb or a sugar-free dessert, but they're not willing to buy the ingredients because they can't find it in the shops. Well, I'll tell you where to buy them and I'll tell you exactly what you will need. So regardless of what sweet recipe you are making, you are going to need a sugar substitute. I personally love erythritol. It tastes like sugar, it doesn't leave an aftertaste, and it comes in a granular form or a powdered form like icing sugar. This one particularly is great. I find it on eBay, or I find it on a website called realfoodsource.co.uk, and of course I will link it below. Other than that, you can also use stevia, and I prefer using the liquid drops. This on its own will have an aftertaste, so I prefer using a bit of erythritol and a bit of stevia. So maybe you have the sugar substitute, but you don't have the flour replacement. Well, almond flour, if you don't have an allergy to nuts, is absolutely great. I use it in any recipe, whether it's savoury or sweet, and it really has the best consistency. If you can't use almond flour, there is coconut flour, which I do also use and is great to combine with almond flour sometimes. But coconut flour on its own can be very absorbent and it will make recipes a bit more dry. So it's always important to follow a recipe and to really know what you're working with. So now that you hopefully understand a little bit more about these low carb recipes and sugar-free recipes, we can get right into it. So the first recipe I'm sure you have heard of if you are in the keto low carb space. If you haven't, you must be living under a rock, but they're so simple. It literally takes 5 minutes and you can do so many different versions of a mug cake. This is my take, and to be honest, it tastes like Terry's chocolate orange. So if you're a fan of that, you're gonna love this. So I find that salt really brings out the flavour, so don't be afraid to add that. So yeah, make sure you give it a really good stir. You don't want any lumps or any things stuck together with the almond flour or the baking powder. This is chocolate from Aldi and it is 85%. You can go darker or you can go for other brands, but I like this one. And if you really want to, you can always add more chocolate. Just be aware that it is obviously going to up the carbs. Once you've made sure that your chocolate is nice and in the centre and covered up, place it in the microwave, and it depends on how moist you want the cake. I prefer it at 1 minute 30. If you want to, add another 30 seconds after that time, see how you feel. I think mug cakes are so handy. If you don't fancy making a great big batch of desserts, or maybe it's just you that's doing this diet, you don't really want to make a load and then have to keep eating it. So this is great for when you really fancy something that's a bit more filling and obviously more of a treat, but it's so quick and easy. Obviously I don't have oranges in the house because I don't eat oranges on the keto diet, but it would be great if I could have garnished this with a bit of orange peel. So I just went for cream, double cream of course, and some berries on the side, and always cinnamon. If you have a nut allergy, or maybe you just don't want to include nuts in your diet, this is the recipe for you. It's like a cheesecake, it's like a tart, and you could basically add anything to it to completely change the flavour profile. If you want here, you could use a hand blender or a mixer, but for me I just prefer to keep less washing up and keep it basic. Although I may have forgot this step, I do want to say it's probably best to grease the actual foil itself so it doesn't stick. Although mine turned out fine, you don't want to risk it. If you're impatient like me, you might want to pop this straight into the fridge, as it definitely needs at least 2 hours in the fridge to set, and make sure you can actually peel it away from the foil. Then I just added some sugar-free syrup, and this one is actually from my protein. Yes, this is a vegan recipe. This isn't my usual, but if something turns out better than with eggs or butter, etc., then I can't deny it. The 1 part flaxseed, 2 parts water concoction that I make is actually in replacement for eggs, and you can use this in other recipes also. Make sure you grease the actual pan before you put the parchment paper on it, as then it will stick down to the pan rather than flapping about and creasing. So after 15 minutes, your what they call a flax egg will be ready, and you can put this in with the wet ingredients and make sure you give it a good mix before then going on to mixing it all together with the dry. I can honestly say these are my absolute favourite keto brownies I ever make, and they always turn out with like a fudgy chocolatey centre, which is really smooth because of the coconut oil. So if you want to give them a try, let me know how they turn out. Hopefully there is something in there for everyone to try, or at least that will work for different people who have different dietary requirements or different preferences. It can seem a little bit daunting at first, but it really is simple as long as you know what the ingredients are that you need. In the UK, they are basically only available online. There is the rare occasion where you might find it in a shop, but mostly it is online. So please do take a look at realfoodsource.co.uk. So thank you very much for watching. Please give it a thumbs up. Please subscribe. I have so much more coming for you guys, so please do keep a lookout.